Super Power Man of the Hour here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, JCANT proudly brings to you another episode of a brand new podcast hitting the airwaves, making your days just a little bit better. The Verdict. What is going on, everybody? Good to see you all. As I said, it's your boy, the Super Power Man of the Hour here. Welcome back to the show. Quarters in session. Let's do this thing. What is going on? So I know what you're thinking. Why are you in the same clothes? What's going on here? Well, it's called chunk recording. That's right. What we do is we sit here and we crank out as many episodes, as much content as we possibly can in one day. Hence, I'm still legendary. It's gonna read backwards for you, but don't worry about it. Welcome back to the show. I told you all before that this show is going to be very much freeform unless I come with plans, and I often enjoy improvisation. But that's not what this episode is. I decided that I am going to do a top list. That's right. I'm going to rank my favorite of something, and today we are going to be talking about, drumroll please, wait for it, 10 points to whoever knows where that reference is from, the wait for it reference, 10 points. But today we're going to be talking about my top 5 Kendrick Lamar albums. Now, let me put this out there. I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. Kendrick Lamar is in my list of top 5 rappers all time, I think. And I only say I think because I'm not sure if he's top 5 or top 3. Because I know for sure Biggie is in my top 3 for sure. But yeah, I think he's in the top 3. I would say top 3. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Kendrick Lamar today. Just going down that list to the top 5 Kendrick Lamar albums that he's put out. For this list, unfortunately, I know this is going to hurt some of you Kendrick Lamar lovers out there, but for this list, I am leaving off the Black Panther soundtrack. I know, relax, I understand. But anyway, as I was saying before I was so violently interrupted by someone's motor, I don't care about your horsepower. I could care less. I don't care. Yeah, I'm leaving off the Black Panther soundtrack just because the Black Panther soundtrack is not strictly Kendrick Lamar. Yes, he produced it. Yes, he is all over it, really. But not every song is directly centered around Kendrick, and not every song is so heavily Kendrick influenced. So that's why I had to leave it off the list. But I definitely give it all the recognition that it deserves. Also, fun little tidbit, fun fact for you sports fans out there, and Bay Area sports fans out there. Every single time Kendrick has dropped an album, including the Black Panther soundtrack, every single time the Warriors have won a championship, including this past season when the Warriors, for the 4th time, at least for Clay, Steph, and Draymond, for the 4th time in 7 years, something like that, won the NBA championship, went to the finals, beat the Celtics in 6 games. So shouts out to them, shouts out to Dub Nation. But yeah, every single time Kendrick drops an album, the Warriors win a title. So since he probably won't be dropping an album next season, don't expect too much. But enough all that. Forget all that. Y'all want to know my top 5 Kendrick Lamar albums? Well, here they are. Coming in at number 5, we have Section 80. Now, and I know some of you out there are super heavy on Section 80 because this is for like Kendrick fans. I'm talking K. Dot Kendrick fans. You know, they just love Kendrick. I love him too. I'm a big K. Dot fan. Love that guy. You know, he's one of my favorites out right now. He is my favorite rapper out right now. And I got him 1, J. Cole 2. And then I don't really care about anybody else really, to keep it a stack with you. But yeah, Section 80 was the thing. Like Section 80, Kendrick's arrived. He did really good work on Section 80. It didn't resonate with me as much as it did with other people, like my homie Chris. He loves Section 80. I think Section 80 is his number one Kendrick album, and for good reason. And to be honest, you can't really go wrong with any of Kendrick's work, really. But yeah, Section 80, and I had to put it on this list just because of how much it did for Kendrick, and uh, what it meant for him and his career, and just the attention that it brought him. But the reason that I put Section 80 at 5 and not at 3, which is where a different Kendrick entity is because I think that that Kendrick album is the one that put Kendrick on the map, on everybody's map, and let people know, like, yo, Kendrick's here, and he ain't going nowhere. He's that guy. But yeah, Section 80, definitely for sure, one of my favorites from him. Coming in at number 4, we got Damn, 2017. Um, this album broke so many records, had so many number one hits. Love, Loyalty, Humble, of course. I think one of the more slept on Kendrick entities, which is why I put it at number 4. It's definitely good. It's not better than the other 3, in my opinion, but it's definitely slept on and super underrated, which is why it's in my top 5. I love Humble. It's such a good song. I would say Humble is my number 2 song off that album behind Love. DNA is also a really good one. Um, but yeah, I mean that album had so many number ones. It's crazy, and has so many Grammy wins. It's ridiculous. But yeah, really, really good album from Kendrick. It was the last album we heard from him before we got his newest album. And he left us hanging for 5 good years with Damn, Good Kid, and Section 80, and To Pimp a Butterfly. And that's all we had to work with until we got his new album, which is also really good. But yeah, I had to put it on here just because of it was a really good album, and Kendrick ate. Kendrick ate. Coming in at number 3 is the one I was talking about earlier when I was explaining Section 80. Good Kid, Mad City. Um, I enjoy it. Like I said, my homie Chris loves Section 80, and I for understandable reasons. But he also knows how much of a fan I am of Good Kid, Mad City, which is why I think he's low key surprised that it wasn't my number 1 or number 2, at least number 2, because I love it so much. But my number 1 is pretty obvious if you know me, and what kind of Kendrick I'm into, and like but anyway, but Good Kid, Mad City, I put this here and not Section 80 because I wasn't gonna put Damn at number 5 ever, but I feel like Good Kid and Section 80 for me are interchangeable only because they were both sort of right as Kendrick was coming out, and they were both sort of like, you know, the introduction to K Dot and the introduction to Kendrick. I put Damn where it was because of, like I said, the numbers that it did, the number one hits it had, the Grammy, like all of it. The success was just crazy. Um, but the Good Kid had so many, like Good Kid, Mad City. If I had to use one word to describe that album, it literally would be vibe. It literally would be vibe. Um, and I'm not talking about the song "Don't Kill My Vibe." I'm not saying the words. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Spotify. Like, no, no. I gotta think smarter, not harder, children. But "Don't Kill My Vibe," "Swimming Pools," "Money Trees" was on that album, if I'm not mistaken. "Poetic Justice" on that album, if I'm not mistaken, with Drake. So many great things about that album. I believe after this album, you really started to see Kendrick feature on more songs. I know he did a song with the likes of Robin Thicke. He did songs with everybody once Good Kid dropped, and for the right reasons. I mean, he's incredible, incredible work from Kendrick on this one, really. And it's definitely in my top 3 for sure. Definitely deserves to be there. But no shade, no slight to Section 80 at all. But Good Kid, I just felt like that was the arrival of Kendrick. Like Section 80, you met Kendrick, you knew about him, you were like, okay, he could, he can spit, he can talk his talk, right? But Good Kid, Mad City, you saw Kendrick come into his own, and you saw Kendrick get down, and that's when everyone was like, "Yo, this dude from Compton, from hey man." So that's why Section. Nope, just kidding. That's why Good Kid, Mad City is at number three. Um, Coming in at number two, and this one is probably going to be really controversial. Um, we have Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. This album, so overdue, so worth the wait. I feel like, and it shocked everybody. It surprised a lot of people when this album dropped. When this album dropped, people were excited and they were happy and they were bumping it constantly. But once they got through it all, they were like, "Huh," and not "huh" as in I was expecting more. Or that was not what I was expecting, or that maybe not that I was expecting, but it wasn't necessarily a bad or negative impulse or reaction. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, I think, was so off type for Kendrick, given everything that he had produced and put out at the time. I think it was super off type and super out of character for him. A lot of questions, but it, it felt very much like um, my number one on this list. It felt like a storytelling piece, and I feel like when you get into that aspect of it, when I feel like you have freestyle Kendrick, where that's Section 80, that's Good Kid, that's Damn a little bit, but you also have storyteller Kendrick, and I think storyteller Kendrick is on another level, which is why I put him over J. Cole. I think they're two of the best lyricists ever, but I think they're also two of the greatest storytellers when it comes to hip hop and it comes to rap. Um, the only reason I put Kendrick over J. Cole is just because Kendrick, and it's really like 1A, 1B, if I'm being really honest. And I honestly feel like it's a matter of personal preference when it comes to Cole World and K Dot. I feel like it's really personal preference because they're both so very, very good at pulling you in to their worlds and pulling you into their universes. But I feel like my number one is why I put Kendrick over J. Cole, because uh, oh, it's so beautiful. It really is. But to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, I love that album. I love it so much. He gave us a little taste with the Heart Part Five, dropping that early before the actual album itself dropped, which was awesome. Savior, Rich Spirit, Die Hard, Crown, um, Count Me Out. Like there's so many great songs on here that you can put on, and everybody will be like, "Hey, all right, I mess with this. I rock with this." Um, there's a lot of great stuff on this album, um, and I think you get storyteller Kendrick as well as freestyle Kendrick. You know what I mean? I feel like you get hints and pieces of freestyle Kendrick in N95, in Savior, in Count Me Out. You know what I mean? But then you get that storyteller Kendrick, who can just really be like, "Yo," and you'll sit there going, I know exactly what you're talking about, Kay. I know exactly what you're talking about, bruh. And I feel like you get that in Auntie Diaries. You get that in the first track on the album, in United in Grief. We Cry Together. I don't even need to say no more. Because if you want a storytelling masterclass, listen to We Cry Together. We Cry Together is not a song that you're going to go back to often on this album. I'll be honest, it's not one of those songs, because when you first hear it, you're like, you almost don't think that you're supposed to be listening to this. Like you almost think that it wasn't supposed to make the album. One of my favorite comedians right now, who's out right now, Tony Baker, when the album first dropped, he posted something to Instagram and to Twitter. He said, "We Cry Together" off of Kendrick's new album makes me feel like a nosy neighbor. And I listened to that song and then I thought about the tweet and I was like, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely, because you just you sitting there listening like, I don't think I should be listening to this right now. Like, I don't think this was for me. Um, but yeah, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, I definitely think it's gonna take some time to grow on people, but I'd get watch. Give it some time, and this one will definitely be considered one of Kendrick's best projects ever. By the time he's done, and I hope I know he said that he was done after this album, which if he is, understandable because he's given us like is what he's given us. But I just feel like he's got so much left uh, in the tank. Not left to prove because he's proven himself already. But I think he's still got it. So please, Kendrick, please. But coming in at number one, finally, if you follow Kendrick, if you pick up what I'm putting down, I think you know where I'm going with this. The man freaking won a Pulitzer for this, if I'm not mistaken. I think. Hold on, let me fact check this before I put that out there. That propaganda. I just want to make sure. Yeah. Okay, okay. So he didn't win a Pulitzer for this one. My bad. Um, he didn't win a Pulitzer for this one. He won a Pulitzer for Damn, which is number 4 on my list, which is why it is where it is. Because to win a Pulitzer for an album, my goodness. But I think he might have won. So yeah, Kendrick Kendrick definitely won the Pulitzer Prize for Damn. I thought he might have won the Nobel Prize for my number one, but I don't think he did. He might have, but I'm not mistaken, or at least there was talks of him winning it. I'm not sure. But number one is To Pimp a Butterfly. I mean, there's storytelling Kendrick at his finest hour, in his finest hour of storytelling. Kendrick Lamar gave us To Pimp a Butterfly and Never Looked Back, and he won so many Grammys. He got so much recognition for To Pimp a Butterfly. This was a masterclass, and it literally was a story. And when it comes to rapping, I enjoy the storytelling aspect. That's why I'm so big on Biggie, and J. Cole. I just really enjoy that storyteller aspect of it. I'm a huge fan of Outkast as well, but this was special. To Pimp a Butterfly was special. It was just there were so many things going right for this album. It was insane. Like I can't even like man, I love To Pimp a Butterfly. But it so good, so very 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 good. From These Walls to King Kunta, all right. I don't like. There's so many good. It's just I love this. I love this album a lot. I love this album a lot. Um, Wesley's Theory, like I enjoy this album so much. So yeah, I love To Pimp a Butterfly, and that's got to be my number one. Um, what is it? What else is there to say? I love Kendrick Lamar so much, and his work speaks for itself. The man, he's just I done said enough. I done said enough. That's the verdict, everybody. Kendrick Lamar is one of the greatest rappers of all time, in my opinion. And this is my humble opinion, but this is also the verdict, so it's final. Kendrick Lamar is one of the greatest rappers of all time. If you don't like me, fight me. Don't really, but fight me. Let me know in the comment section below who are some of your favorite rappers of all time. Do you rock with Kendrick music like that? What are some of your favorite Kendrick projects? Let me know these things. I want to know. But yeah, that's the final verdict for this episode. Kendrick Lamar, goat among goats, and that's all there is to it. Yeah, Kendrick Lamar. There it is. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button on this video. If you're watching it on YouTube, hit the like button, leave a good review, give us those 5 stars, do all the things that help this podcast grow and get better. Like, share, comment, all that good stuff. Please share. Share. That's so important. Share the heck out of this podcast. Please, please share this podcast. It's so important. Um, not only does it give me recognition, but it allows me to get into people's algorithms more often. And if I know one thing, America loves its algorithms. Just watch The Matrix. But that's another episode for another day. But yeah, please, please share this with all your friends, families, aunts, uncles, cats, nieces, nephews, fishes, turtles, guinea pigs, teachers, lab assistants. Share it everywhere. Please, please, please do it because it helps us out so much. It helps the podcast grow, and it's nice. It's a good deed. Do your good deed for the day. Okay, share this podcast. So yeah, that's all. Thank you all so much for watching. The court is now adjourned. You have been listening to The Verdict. Catch you in the next one.